Yeah! Woo! Good morning and a happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And we are coming off of a Monday night doubleheader. It's official. I do not like Monday night doubleheaders.
I don't like it either.
Yeah,
I'm not in at all.
I kept flipping back and forth. And here's what I was doing. I was going to the wrong game at the wrong times.
Yeah.
So as a result, like every time something cool happened on Philly, Tampa Bay,
Right.
I was on Rams, Bengals. And every time something cool happened, Rams, Bengals, I was on Tampa Bay, Philly. It sucked.
I did the exact same thing, and it was all knotted up 6-6 as I flipped over to Rams Bengals, and then all of a sudden I look in the corner. I'm like, wait, Eagles have 25. I mean, I left. It was like 7. What's going on?
Yeah, a bunch of boomers. Do neither of you have iPads?
Yeah, no, I
one
don't.
game on the TV, one game on the iPad.
No, I just
Boom.
want one game.
Yeah.
I also want the
You don't
one
have
game.
kids. This isn't a boomer thing.
Hey,
You
I
don't
have Brock.
No, you don't have kids. When you have children, you can only concentrate on either their survival or your entertainment at one time. If I have 2 screens on, it means the house will be burned down. Like there is no chance. I also have a wife, and she's also in charge of these kids. And if I were to set up, like I can't even imagine the conversation I would have with Annie if I were to set up the damn television and the iPad at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
She would walk in and she would be like, "That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm moving out. I'm taking the kids to my mother's. Like that's it."
Yeah. The other problem with the Monday night doubleheader is I don't need a game on Monday to start at 4:30 or whatever time it started. I missed kickoff. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, that's
it's
right.
like
It's
too
on.
early of a kick.
Right.
Man, when football season's gone, you two are going to be so sad that you don't have 2 games on Monday night.
Don't give me 2 on Monday night.
No. Split
Or-
it up. Split it up. Make it a Monday night and a Tuesday night. During the pandemic, we had a Wednesday night football game that rated insanely well.
And
Like
it was awesome.
I think it was a Steelers game. It doesn't matter. Just move it. And like everybody's like, yeah, but what are the NFL schedule makers gonna do? I'm like, they'll figure it out. I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar league. They'll just figure it out.
If you play on a Tuesday and then again on Sunday, that's no different than playing on Sunday and then on Thursday.
Exactly. They'll figure it out.
I'm going to bring up this conversation in April,
Mhm.
and you two are going to be I wish we had Monday Night Football doubleheaders right now.
Well, no.
I don't want a doubleheader. I just want Monday night.
Like never at any point in the calendar. I will never be a fan of Monday. Like the thing that Thursday night and Monday night and Sunday night football. I mean, granted you're coming off of like a long slate of games throughout the day. Is it standalone, a primetime product where you sit down, you're doing one thing, you're watching one game, the audience isn't split. I also like the fact that like on X or Twitter, when you're reading, like you're not confused at all by what you're reading. It's like, wait a second, the Bucks? No, they're not playing the Rams. Oh no, they're talking about the Eagles defense. Oh, okay. You know, like you got to catch up for a second. Meanwhile, like I said, back at the farm, I'm missing all the plays live in action.
Yeah, it wasn't comfortable until the Eagles game ended, and then I'm like, okay, I can just settle in right here.
But anyways, a lot happened. Joe Burrow, he toughed it out. He went out there, and the quote is, there's a risk of going out there to potentially re-injure it, but there's also a risk not going out there and being 0-3, so I wanted to be out there for my guys. And I was confident that I was going to be able to do so and do what I needed to do to get the win. So that's Joe Burrow. And
you said this yesterday.
Yep.
If they were 2-0, he wouldn't be out there. And he did not look like the typical Joe Burrow that we saw, at least last year. This season's been a struggle, but he did not plant that back foot. I mean, most of his throws did not have a lot on them. They were floaters. They were slow. They were on target, but just, man, it seemed like it took a long time to get there. And not the same. Go ahead.
Travis, I think the Bengals had the easiest game plan ever coming into this one. It was get Jamar Chase open early and often and find him within 5 yards and throw it to him and let him do all the work. And that's what worked. And Joe Mixon, I think, really stepped up in a big way, too, out of the backfield. That was the youngest he's looked in like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Mixon, who was just making jump cuts all over the place. He ends up scoring the touchdown to put the Bengals ahead. But for the Bengals, that was the only option you had with Joe Burrow, who obviously couldn't move. He couldn't get outside the pocket when he tried. It was like he was running in a foot of jello.
Well, even with Mixon, I mean, he just was from a run game standpoint, kind of stuck in mud. Like you're looking at this Rams team very differently at 1-2, based on their record than what they look like on game days. This is a tough team. The Rams, because they had such low expectations, a lot of people just factored them out of their minds. Like, well, they're not going to contend for their division. They're not going to be a very good football team this year. That's a very good football team. They're losing. Obviously, this is a game they could have won. But holy smokes, man, that defense is still, I mean, Mixon averaged, I'm thinking, less than 3 yards per carry on the day. I mean, they could not get anything going. And that's exactly what I thought the Cincinnati Bengals were going to do. I thought they were going to try to like feed him the rock, get the run game going, really take the pressure off the Bengals. And to their credit, the Los Angeles Rams never let them off the hook. They said, if you're going to beat us, it's going to be because Joe Burrow can beat us. And they intercepted him. It was a tough, hard-fought win for Cincinnati to get that W.
Yeah, you're right, Rich. And to Fletch's point of the Bengals game plan, get Chase open and just let him work.
Yeah,
it took 2.5 quarters before that started to happen. So it wasn't until towards the end of the third when all of a sudden that Bengals offense looked like they had some spark, looked like they had some life. And I mean, I don't think that's just because the Bengals were lackadaisical. I think it was the Rams were playing a tough game against them. They could not make it happen. However, the Bengals did start to look a little more like last year's Bengals, that offense at least.
Yeah.
Think about who the Rams have played so far this year. They open up with the Seahawks, which not an easy game. The Seahawks aren't as good as a lot of people thought they'd be, but they're still tough. And then they got the Niners and the Bengals, two teams who have been in the Super Bowl the last few years. So it's just brutal to think what the Rams have opened up with. And I think that they've opened up to probably a B+, A- in terms of what was expected of them and in terms of what they are. Like, this Rams team is serious, and they've been doing it without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Puka Nacua is now the favorite target for Matthew Stafford.
God, he got shut down last night. I was going against him in like 2 different leagues.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
he was about 2.5 feet away from a touchdown.
That would have ended my night.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of the NFL is you can sneak certain things under the radar, right? Josh Dobbs off to a hot start for the Arizona Cardinals, for example. Puka Nacua replacing Cooper Kupp in this Rams offense. But by that third game, when you have 2 games worth of film to go back and study and see how they're using certain players, all of a sudden defensive coordinators go, okay, that's a real threat. We're going to shut it down.
And that's why it's so special when you see a Justin Jefferson or a Calvin Johnson back in the day, where no matter what teams did against them, they're still open and they're still able to get theirs. Because, last night the Bengals clearly, they just figured something out with Puka Nacua, and you realize, oh, he's not Cooper Kupp reincarnate. He's a guy who had a really good couple of weeks.
And then you look over at the Philadelphia Eagles, who remain unbeaten on the season, taking down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I remember distinctly yesterday, I believe all of us were on the Rams because of the question marks around the Bengals with Joe Burrow.
Yes.
I believe we all were on the Rams.
I took the Bengals.
No, I think
just listened to it this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You took the Bengals? You were against us on that
because
one?
I said that Joe Burrow was going to be back against the wall, hurt Joe Burrow, and he's going to come out.
I thought you switched at the end.
All right.
I listened to the part where I said, no, he's going to have his back against the wall, and he's going to have an awesome game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do think you said that, but then at the end, I think you went, yeah, but I want to bet against you guys, but we convince you. Either way, on the Tampa Bay game, there was a certain somebody who was just shouting about Baker Mayfield, just shouting and shouting. And I forget, was it you, Travis?
Well, it wasn't me.
It
wasn't me. It wasn't
I know
me.
It wasn't myself.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Who could it
What are you
have?
guys talking about?
Yeah. What?
No. We're not letting you off the hook. Just, I remember. Can you maybe remind all of us?
Baker lives forever.
We will play that coming back tomorrow.
Yes.
Tampa Baker lives forever.
I mean, he's still alive.
Yeah, I mean, he's not dead. He's just 2-1 on the season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right. That in that game, the final score of that game looked a lot better than the game itself.
Well, yeah, because they scored at the end there to make it 11. So it would have been 25 to what would that be? 25 to 4.
I think it was. Did they get a 2-point conversion?
Oh yeah, that's right.
3.
Yeah,
25 to 3.
Yeah, it was a rough night for Tampa Bay. They couldn't get much going offensively.
And when they did, it stalled out. They'd get close, they'd have a turnover. It was a pick or a fumble, and then the Eagles just marched down the field and ate up time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty methodical. The Eagles have looked better each week, and I still think they're playing C+ football.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I honestly look at the Eagles' effort in the first half, at least, it wasn't perfect. Jalen Hurts throws an interception. They turn over on downs, their first play, or I should say their first drive. But your assessment of the second half is exactly correct. I mean, long sustained drives, another interception by Hurts in the second half, but long sustained drives. They scored half the time, and they were able to just sort of slow down the game and, just force Baker Mayfield into the situation where every time he got the ball, you didn't know how many possessions he had left. So they were just trying to flail and throw the ball around the yard. It just wasn't working out.
We did all take the Rams. I just went back and confirmed. You guys did change my mind. However, we all pushed because it was a 3-point spread.
We all pushed. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
all right.
We were
hey,
right on the
look
number.
at us.
Yeah, which we all knew waking up this morning. That game was very important to us. I staked my mortgage on it and would have been so mad.
The Eagles, this is a little bit reminiscent of last season as the Eagles started winning, and each and every week there were certain voices in the sports community that would say they're overrated. They're overrated. Here they are again, 3-0, and it has not been good football, but they got the W, and that's what matters.
I also think that they do football differently because they have a football play that's not a football play, and it works every time, and I'm pretty sure it's unstoppable. The stupid tush push.
Yeah, well,
I'm over it.
All teams are using it.
I
now.
know all teams are using it, but the Eagles use it better than anyone, and the tush push, it doesn't feel like football to me.
It does kind of give you rugby scrum vibes, but I will say this: I think it's
literally unstoppable. Have they ever failed on one of them? I don't think they have.
It's going to be one of those plays where they'll probably try to. I think they just like it because it extends drives. I don't think it's going anywhere. I was about to try to make an argument where they might stop them from doing it, but frankly, look, everybody's happiest when we have, 28-34, Falcons beat the Saints, because who cares about Falcons Saints in the majority of the United States? But when you have a game like that where fantasy implications are all over the place, like, oh, Derek Carr's my starting quarterback, and I have Algier, I have Bijan Robinson. Well, all of a sudden your fantasy points are going to explode, because if the Falcons scored 34 points in a win, well, obviously you're going to be very happy. So I think the NFL is happy with more offense, not less. The tush push lives forever.
Well, gents, we've been talking about it here, but this Bengals team got their first win of last night of the season. They remain a work in progress, though. Obviously, Joe Burrow dealing with an injury, but he is making some history in certain statistical categories that should worry Bengals fans. Get ready for this. Joe Burrow now averaging 4.7 yards per passing attempt this season. Only two quarterbacks in the last 20 seasons have started each of the first 3 games of the season while averaging fewer yards per attempt. Tell me if you know these names. Derek Anderson with the Browns in 2008. Do you know that name?
Derek Anderson with the Browns. Yeah, I do remember Derek Anderson.
Briefly remember.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a long stint.
No, it wasn't.
And then the second name, JP Lossman in 05 with the Bills. I do not remember him.
Yeah, JP. He was supposed to be good. Yeah, no, that also did not last very long.
JP lost, man. Then we'll move on to the Padres here. Blake Snell, who is minus 4,000 currently in the Vegas consensus odds for the Cy Young. He has a 1.20 ERA during a streak of 23 straight starts, allowing 3 earned runs or fewer. The only pitcher in the last 100 years to have a lower ERA in a 23 start span within a single season was Bob Gibson during 1968 Cy Young award-winning season. Blake Snell has locked up the Cy Young, it would appear.
Well, his only challenge was Webb going against him last night. he's got the MLB leading, or I should say lowest ERA, 2.25, and another scoreless start. That's 3 in a row, like you mentioned there. And Blake Snell's been a bright spot or a silver lining to an otherwise very dark cloud. The Padres now face elimination. Their magic number is down to 1, or I should say their elimination number is down to 1. A loss today or a D-backs or Cubs win today officially snuffs all playoff hopes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I was trying to do the math. I'm like, well, if everyone wins, then they're still out, even if they win.
The math doesn't really math because they're 5.5 games out with 5 games left, but the elimination number is still 1 because they've played more games than some of the other teams. And so the 2 teams you mentioned, was it the D-backs and the Cubs?
They both have to win, and then it officially is over.
Or the Padres lose 1.
Right. Or and that's it. Look, the deal is this: it's inevitable they're going to be knocked out unless an absolute miracle occurs, because they are so far back, and you have teams that are obviously trying to cruise into the postseason with some momentum or fight for their postseason lives right now. The Padres are one of them, and they've been on fire lately, although a tight loss last night. You know, what's interesting is the players on this team in the clubhouse and the, to a certain or lesser degree, the front office is fighting back about these claims about a leadership void. They're starting to make comments about how, this is all overblown. But we read the news that the newest update from Dennis Lin is that either at the end of the season, Bob Melvin, manager for the Padres, is going to be handed his walking papers, or he's going to voluntarily leave the organization, which, by the way, means he's going to be handed his walking papers.
Exactly.
And I don't think that fixes anything. I honestly don't. What did firing Andy Green get anybody? What did firing Jace Tingler get anybody? What will firing Bob Melvin get anybody? It's not going to improve the roster.
Well, yeah, and if you're looking at this, just as a pure fan, if you're standing back looking at where could there be a culture problem, is anyone pointing the finger at Bob Melvin? I mean, no. I mean, it's just he doesn't look like the guy that's the problem to me.
Now, I will say I have not been on the train. I mean, I agree with the fact that they should fire AJ Preller, but I just haven't thought it was going to happen. I'm starting to think it might happen now, or at the very least demoting him and bringing in a GM and leaving him as president of baseball operations. I don't know how that would work. You can't really have him in the building. But John Schaefer last night on the wrap-up show, I was able to catch a little bit of it before I went to bed, did say that he is thinking that AJ Preller is probably not with the Padres next year. And if that's the case, Bob Melvin might stay, AJ might go. And his reasoning behind it was, well, we haven't heard from Peter Seidler in a while, and we don't know if that's all health concerns or if he's maybe hiding a little bit and doesn't want to have to answer questions about AJ. But I think that there's a chance with how poorly this has gone and how poorly AJ's entire tenure has gone, this might just be where the rubber meets the road.
Look, there's problems with this culture, and I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole with things that I've heard recently, things that I know. But even if Bob Melvin
down the rabbit hole
is fired,
just let it all rip.
Even if AJ Preller is fired, like in a stunning move, say both of them get their walking papers, there's still issues with this team. That idea that the clubhouse is completely intact and that there are no problems and everything is just peachy keen, that's not the case. There are players in that clubhouse who have a lot of feelings about the way things go with certain players and certain levels of favoritism, and they can't speak up. And it's because, when there's favorites, when you're playing that game of favorites, or when you have a guy who has a massive contract and he lords it over everybody, well, that's a huge problem for your culture. And I think you can read between the lines and you know exactly who and what I'm talking about. It's been a problem since that problem has been here.
Rich, you're the only person who has signed a professional contract to play in a sports league. You're the only person who's been in those locker rooms. What is it like when you have a no trade clause? And I don't know if you ever had one, but like Xander Bogaerts has a no trade clause. There were reports early on that he and Manny didn't get along all that great. Xander Bogaerts might not be entirely thrilled to be wearing the San Diego Padres uniform. Again, that's speculation in my head. That's not anything that's been reported. But can Xander then tear up his own no trade clause, or is that something that he and the team have to agree to do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the no trade clause, I mean, it's for the player. It's something that you negotiate on the side of the player. The agent negotiates on the side of the player, because think of it from this standpoint. You're an asset, right? Like you're don't even look at a player as a person for a second. Look at it as this notebook. Like this notebook has a value.
I want that notebook.
Okay. Yes, you do, right? But if I give you this notebook, I want your sparkling water.
But I like my sparkling water.
Well, this notebook's very valuable, very good notebook. And you know what? You're not a very good owner of things. So if I give you this notebook, chances are this notebook's going to get like thrown around and beat up real bad. But I'm going to take that sparkling water from you. And I don't give a rat's ass about this notebook after it leaves my hands. The only thing that I care about is that sparkling water. This notebook is Xander Bogaerts. So if he doesn't have a trade clause, I can give this notebook, Xander Bogaerts, to an owner who's going to abuse him, who's going to, or you could be, somebody who's never going to write in it. Like, you're never even going to be of any use. You're drinking all the sparkling water. How dare you? You son of a.
Hey, his take is empty. He now sucks at baseball.
So that's the deal. Like it is a no trade clause is what every player wants, because you don't wake up one day and all of a sudden, you're loving life. You're with the Dodgers. You're about to go to the playoffs. And then all of a sudden you're in Cleveland, or you're with the Cubs, or you're with the Nationals, and you're just like, wait, what?
You get that notification on your phone that Jeff Passan's tweeting about you.
Mm-hmm. And
God, I do not recommend chugging sparkling water. That hurts.
Like hurts your heart, or
Hurts everything.
hurts everything.
man,
Hurts everything.
and every general manager has to chug sparkling water before trades get done. But that's the thing.
It's in the contract.
Yeah, that's what it says on the paper. If you want Xander Bogaerts, you're gonna have to slam a Kirkland lime sparkling water.
That's right. Hey, don't forget while you're getting ready to work or for work, you can find us on your smart speaker. It doesn't matter which smart speaker it is. If I could speak here early in the morning, Google, Alexa. I'm dying here.
Travis, could you give us an example of how you would ask Alexa to play Big Rich, TD, and Fletch?
I would say, hey Alexa, play San Diego Sports 760.
There you go.
And then she'd do it.
You know how many people you pissed off like entirely?
Because they're all playing?
Yeah,
it was on purpose.
They're listening on their cell phone in the kitchen, like their cell phone's on the cutting board, and it's just playing our show. And then all of a sudden you just woke up their Alexa device, and now it's just like booming. It's like playing San Diego Sports 760, waking up the whole house.
Hey, Rich, could you give me an example of how you would ask your iPhone to listen to Big Rich, TD, and Fletch?
Hey, Siri, turn on San Diego Sports 760 on the free iHeartRadio music app. Oh my God, it's happening to my phone.
Working.
It's happening to my phone.
I haven't set up Siri yet on my phone. I can't get into Twitter. I've locked myself out. It's a mess.
Siri's like, I don't see that app.
What? Because you haven't logged in yet.
Oh, that's right.
You got it's a brand new phone. It's sparkly, shiny new.
Yeah,
Did you get the titanium iPhone?
Yeah, I got that 15, dog.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
You have it too?
Yeah, man.
You got to get up on your game,
God,
dog.
I feel like a poor person.
No, you shouldn't. You got a Brock at
I do have
home.
a Brock.
You got a little puppy dog from Mexico. And that is, honestly, I would trade Brock for an iPhone 15. Like if Verizon had a deal.
Right, and a sparkling water.
Really? Did you say you needed a Mexican street dog and a Kirkland lime sparkling water? That is a deal, Monfrere. All right. So last night, obviously, we had the Monday night doubleheader. Football's back. It's 3 weeks into the season now. As we cap off week 3 of the season, we're heading towards week 4. I had 3 different underdog fantasy pick'ems going last night. They were all $5 pick'ems, where I had 5-player pick'ems where I could win a 20 times multiplier. I lost all 3, but it still made the games insanely more interesting all along the way. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, download the Underdog Fantasy app. You got to play this pick'em game. You get to pick between 2 and 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on their stats. And you can win up to 20 times your money like I did in a single game going 5 for 5. Completely legal in California. Ton of fun to play. And when you sign up, use promo code XTRA and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100+. Plus their new customers will get a mystery special pick live in their Pick'em lobby. So you're going to want to do this. Yeah, that's Underdog Fantasy, promo code XTRA to get your deposit of, say, $10 doubled up to 20. $50 doubled up to $100. $100 doubled up to $200. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.com. Okay, coming up next, you want to hear the worst candidate, or excuse me, we have an early candidate for the worst game in the history of football. That's right. It's coming up this weekend. And the Broncos are involved, Travis.
Of course they are. Why couldn't they be?
I cannot wait.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's next.
Well, the worst game of the season has probably happened this weekend. Maybe the worst game ever in the history of the NFL. We'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by Macy's Backstage. Starting here in the NFL, we had a doubleheader last night on Monday Night Football. In the early game, the Eagles took down the Bucks 25-11. Later on, Joe Burrow and the Bengals got their first win of the year as they took down the Rams 19-16. Bengals just happy that their franchise quarterback Joe Burrow, he was able to play the full game without further injuring his calf. NFL Week 4, that starts this Thursday night in Green Bay with the 2-1 Lions visiting the 2-1 Packers. Padres fall to the Giants last night 2-1 in the Bay Area. The Padres elimination number now sits at 1 game with just 5 games remaining. In spite of all that, Blake Snell, he was fantastic once again. He's been fantastic all year. He bolsters his Cy Young resume for the season. Vegas currently has Snell as the minus 4,000 favorite. You can get it all the way to minus 6,000 to win the Cy Young Award in the National League. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrival at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
It's Big Rich, Sheedy, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760. We're talking about it a little bit earlier, but you want to make sure you have the free iHeartRadio app downloaded to your phone, your device, your tablet, whatever you got. That way you can take us with you on the go. Little Big Rich, Sheedy, and Fletch right in your pocket. Take us to work. Take us to work out. Take us on your way home. It's easy. It's fun.
Big giveaways today, Trav.
Big giveaways today. That's right.
Guns N' Roses. You're hearing some Sweet Child of Mine right now. We should do the acapella version that was in Step Brothers for one of these giveaways.
Like we're going to make listeners call in and do it with us? Just the girls.
Yeah.
Just the guys.
You are so flat right now.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me.
Coldplay, both shows are sold out. We still got tickets for the Thursday show.
Yes, come on. Coldplay is going to be ridiculous. Guns N' Roses happening October 1st over at Snapdragon Stadium. Alice in Chains opening for them. Very excited about that. Ticketmaster.com for tickets, or just keep listening for your chance to win there. And like Ben said, Coldplay tickets, that is going to be this Thursday at Snapdragon Stadium. Go to Ticketmaster.com for tickets there. We also have a $30 gift card to Prince Street Pizza to celebrate San Diego Restaurant Week. It's going on now through October 1st with over 100 of San Diego's finest dining establishments, a diverse range of cuisines from farm to table to international flavors, multi-course menus starting at just $20. Visit SanDiegoRestaurantWeek.com.
Okay, so your Broncos, Travis. Holy smokes, your Broncos. So Sean Payton in the offseason, he sits down with I forget his name, Alan Bell from USA Today, but a writer that he has some sort of kinship with, a trust with, a long form article where at one point he described the Broncos coaching staff as such a disaster that there were 20 different pairs of dirty hands touching Russell Wilson.
Wasn't that Seth Wickersham's article?
It might have been. No, because I believe it was when he was talking to USA Today, where he said, I had too many lattes during that sit down, and I said some things that were regrettable. It's just like, okay, you had too many lattes? That's what happened? I mean, I've had espresso before.
It leaves him foamy and bloated.
Yeah, every single time, and I just say the darndest things.
Right.
But anyways, so Sean Payton says a lot of nasty things about Nathaniel Hackett, either alluding to how poor of a coach he was, or in actuality, how poor of a coach he was. He had a historic loss to the Miami Dolphins, getting beat 70-20. And also the Broncos have started the season 0-3. And Russell Wilson, while looking better, is playing on one of the more inept offenses in the NFL. So good job, Sean.
Yeah, so far so good. I'm starting to feel like Sean Payton hates Russell Wilson. I mean, it is, come on. Okay, Rich, as a player out on the field, would you think it was disrespectful to keep your starting quarterback in on a blowout loss like that? Would you keep him in the whole game?
Russell Wilson, though, in Sean Payton's defense, has serious problems. Like coming off a season as bad as he played last year, I kind of get the mentality, but I'm sure there was a point where Russ was like, yeah, like why are any of the starters still in this game? I know that myself, as an offensive lineman, you have very few subs on the sideline. But if I was one of the veteran guys who knew that I could get a blow if the backup swing tackle came on the field, like, yeah, I would be pissed too. it's embarrassing to lose that bad. It's worse when potentially in a loss that bad, you could injure yourself
Right.
and then be out for the season. And then really you'd be cursing the name of the coach who kept you in the game.
So before the start of the season, Sean Payton said, Nathaniel Hackett did everything wrong. I'm going to do everything opposite. And Sean Payton is doing that. He's made the offense better and now the defense completely worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible. They brought in Vance Joseph, or they brought back Vance Joseph, which I thought, well, that was a weird call.
Yeah, as a defensive coordinator instead of a head coach this time.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work out the first time. Doesn't look like it's working out the second time.
Nope.
It appears to be a convincing sabotage of the Denver Broncos. And if Sean Payton does actually hate Russell Wilson, this is a setup to have him gone and Caleb Williams come in.
So, Travis, would you like to hear that the Broncos brought this upon themselves? Because I have an actual reason why that is true.
Okay. All right.
The 70-20 loss to the Miami Dolphins. The head coach of the Miami Dolphins is
Yeah, I know.
Mike McDaniel.
I know.
So Mike McDaniel, when he was younger, was his first job in the football world was as a coaching intern with the Denver Broncos.
I know.
And as a coaching intern, his job was basically to be the ball boy on the sideline, to switch out the balls when they got sticky or whatever, or Tom Brady was playing and they were too deflated, whatever. So that was Mike McDaniel's first.
They were too inflated. They needed to take some air out.
That was the first job that Mike McDaniel's had in the NFL. When he went to the 49ers and all of a sudden became the star offensive mind guru, he was the guy who was responsible for Deebo Samuel working both in the backfield and as a wide receiver. He started getting head coach interest from other teams from around the league. He started doing interviews. Do you know the team that refused to interview him, even though he asked to be interviewed by the team?
I know.
His childhood favorite team, the Denver Broncos. And so when he came in as the Miami head coach of a high-powered offense going up against your Denver Broncos, he decided, I'm scoring 70 on these mofos. And then he did.
But why didn't he get the record?
Because he's respectful.
I'm respectful after 70.
He did say after the game, he was like, this is all about our standards. I don't care about any NFL records. This is what we do.
Well, they put in their backups, and their backups were scoring in bunches. Like Mike White had more fantasy points. We covered this yesterday, but Mike White, the backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, had more fantasy points than like a large number of starting quarterbacks, and he played one quarter of football in the National Football League. It was really rough for the Broncos.
Their backups outscored the Broncos starters.
Right. There
So
it is.
Who did the Broncos play this week?
They play the Chicago Bears.
Dude, I can't wait. I love bad football games. Come on.
Now,
do you?
I love bad quarterback play.
I don't know why. That's bizarre.
It's just entertaining.
I think bad quarterback play leads to some of the most frustrating, awful football. I do like ugly football. I like it when the weather's bad and you're forced into doing certain things. But bad quarterback play, man, that infuriates me because you are usually one of the highest paid, highest prized talents on the field. And if you can't do it, like there are a lot of teams that are in this mindset, like, well, we got to keep trotting him out there because we've invested so much in him. Screw that. Like there are certain times where you know what a team's doing. Like they've made a poor decision and they've got to defend the poor decision by continually starting a player who's just not working. And it's awful for the team. Trust me, I've been there. Like it feels bad when you're in those situations where you're playing with a guy who doesn't deserve to be on the field because he's not good enough to be on the field. But because he's a first rounder, well, screw me, right?
So Bears Broncos, someone has to win this game.
Buckle up.
Is this going to be a tie? Could you imagine?
At 0, that would be great. You know what? I feel like the Broncos will probably win this one. I think it'll be a bounce back from the 70-point loss, or 70 points giving out, 50-point loss. The Broncos will probably win, and somehow Chicago is worse than Denver.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, if Chicago wins,
yeah.
I mean,
I can't imagine.
It's in Chicago.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's difficult to imagine Chicago beating the Broncos after they had 70 points hung on them. The Broncos at this point are tracking for not winning a game. Like, I mean,
so are the Bears.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying, yeah, I could imagine a loss either side. These teams are stinking out loud right now. The Denver Broncos, here's what's interesting is I think they have two problems. one, when you're trying to institute a culture where you have a hard ass as a coach, and Sean Payton, I know he seems like a cuddly teddy bear sometimes when he's talking to the media and he's smiley, and off-season Sean Payton or Fox Sports Sean Payton doing some game analysis seems like a nice friendly guy.
Mhm.
He isn't.
Mhm.
He's a mean old school type of coach.
Well, Bountygate was a thing.
Well, I'm just saying. Well,
Yeah, he's been in trouble for a number of
but
items.
Bountygate has nothing to do with how difficult. Like Bountygate might be fun. Like playing for an old school coach. That's not fun.
Go injure somebody and you get money.
When you're a football player, you're a psychopath. I mean, you're out. Like, I mean, that's what you're being paid to do, anyways. Like, you're going out there to slam your helmet into somebody a million miles an hour. They just added bonuses. Like your salary is exactly that. So trust me when I tell you, like Bountygate seems really, really screwed up, and it is, and you should not do that. But the reality of football is you're being paid a salary to go out there and maim people on every single play. Sean Payton, what I'm talking about, is completely separate from any of that stuff, nefarious stuff with former defensive coordinator Greg Williams down there in New Orleans. He's a tough-minded, old-school coach, like a Bill Belichick, right? Like where everything is structured, and it's his way or the highway. And if you don't do it his way, you're going to get gone. Well, the problem is when you're 0-3 and your quarterback is in a locker room full of people who are like, this guy's kind of a fraud. Well, all of a sudden, it falls down. Like this is the problem with Belichick not having Brady anymore. Like it's very hard to run an organization like that because nobody's going to be a believer as much as they were when you were winning football games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Bears Broncos.
Yeah, I can't wait. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
God,
it's going to be
what's the
fantastic.
spread on that game going to be 0.5? Probably.
Not good.
You know what? Speaking of spread, there's a new game show.
Oh, good Lord. That is a perfect tease.
That we're going to have to all watch. We'll talk about it coming up next.
Coming up next, if you thought The Golden Bachelor was a cute idea for a dating game show, wait till you hear what HBO is doing. That's next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on a Tuesday morning. It feels like a Tuesday morning. And if you're waking up with us on your Alexa smart speaker or you're talking to Siri this morning, that is a good way to listen to the show. Also, you can bring us in the car, connect via Bluetooth. You can walk with your phone in the office. You can take us with you wherever you go on the free iHeartRadio app. And if you like the show, share it with friends. There's always a little like link button you could click on. And there's the talkback feature, which is becoming one of our favorite things all over again. It feels like we've rediscovered it. So if you want to ever say something to the show, and I do mean say something, you can text us always. And the text line's open all show long, 70470. Start your message with team. Or you can go on the free iHeartRadio app. You can click the talkback button. It's a little microphone icon. It's right next to the play button when you're listening to our show. And we have many of our listeners doing this, where you just record yourself for up to 30 seconds and you leave play it on the show.
And we're gonna put together a little bit for this. Yeah. So
you want to hear one right now?
Yes, I do.
And that is Joe Moon, one of our favorite talkbackers.
That's right. That's right.
And he will continue to be.
Look, we have a strong international following that we found.
I believe he was just asking Alexa to listen to our station, but in Spanish.
Yes, I believe you are correct.
He did
Yes.
mix in the word banana. I know he said banana.
Yeah, right at the beginning there was banana in there.
There might have been something about strawberry frescas. Look, the point is, I do believe he said banana. Here's the point. This talkback button is a lot of fun for us, obviously. Make fun of us if you like.
Speaking of bananas.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
It's a new show that a lot of people are really getting into.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess it's something that's popular in the UK, and HBO Max, just kind of real sneaky like, just added it to their lineup, and people are stumbling across it It's a show called Naked Attraction. Okay? Dating show.
I like this idea a
Okay?
lot.
They
Travis, here's what you don't know.
what's that?
Rich is one of the first contestants.
What?
That's right. That's right. You're gonna see a lot more than me than you're comfortable with. A
Listen,
lot of people are
I-
like, why did Ornberger spend the entire first 2 episodes sunning his perineum? And the answer is I'm boosting my testosterone naturally through the use of solar energy.
they're walking guys out, or not even, they're putting them in like a booth. And then these women stand here in the middle of 5 different men as the doors open, revealing naked men just standing there, completely naked. And then they rank them and vote on them. Now, here's my concern, and why I know I could never be on this show. When I watched the censored YouTube trailer for it,
Yeah.
as the door starts to lift and the man is behind it, they start blurring like right at their knee. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's not going to be necessary if I'm on the show.
Imagine Travis is on a stage and it's just like a bunch of like, I mean, it could be similar age, guys in their late 30s, early 40s. And then all of a sudden, like everybody's got a long blur down to their knees, and Travis just has a little black triangle. And now are they? Is
If he
this
has
like,
a black triangle, I'd have a sunflower seed, dude.
I would just wear an eye patch. Like I would just be like, yeah, I mean, no need for the censor bar. It's an innie.
It's only 4 pixels. Yeah, I mean, so wait, are you guys going to watch this show?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm turning it on tonight.
Yeah. I have to
They
see
have
it.
fantasy football for The Bachelor. We should do fantasy football for this show.
I mean, it sounds good to me.
Your stats could be like, never mind.
Yeah, well, we should take a break.
We could do a naked attraction bracket.
Oh my God. Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
We absolutely could. And we will. Guns N' Roses tickets coming up. Coldplay tickets on the other side as well. And we have a $30 gift card. It's restaurant week. We're going to be giving all that away coming up over the next 2 hours. Stay right where you are. Plenty of show left. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on a Tuesday.
Hour number 2, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. We will begin this morning with the update, which is presented by Staples Stores. Starting off in the NFL, we had a doubleheader last night on Monday Night Football. In the early game, the Eagles beat up on the Bucs 25-11. Later on, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they got their first win of the year. They take down the Rams 19-16. Bengals just happy that Joe Burrow gets out of that game without further injuring his calf. NFL Week 4 starts off this Thursday night in Green Bay. The 2-1 Lions will visit the 2-1 Packers. Padres fall to the Giants last night, 2-1 in the Bay Area. The Padres' elimination number now sits at 1 game, just 5 more remaining. In spite of all that, Blake Snell, fantastic once again last night. He bolsters his Cy Young resume. It looks like he is a lock to win it. Staples has great deals on a full range of HP printers, America's most trusted printer brand. Right now, Staples dropping prices on their entire selection of HP printers with select models starting as low as $69.99. See staples.com/HP for details. Upgrade to HP at Staples.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and we are live, and we have Guns N' Roses tickets to give away.
Woo!
Okay,
Woo!
so Guns N' Roses has an October 1st show playing over at Snapdragon Stadium. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com right now. You can grab information there as well. But if you want to win these tickets, just keep listening for the next 7 minutes. So college football has lost its mind. The AP Top 25 poll came out, and I've got a small love affair for Jordan Travis and the Florida State Seminoles. They're kind of like the little engine that could. And Ohio State has jumped Florida State in the polling. USC and Notre Dame both have fallen. And I guess we should talk a little bit about Notre Dame for a second. We were all out to dinner Saturday night, and Notre Dame loses. But it's not the fact that Notre Dame lost to Ohio State. Like, anybody could have seen either team pulling that one out. That's not the reason why anybody would be talking about it. The reason why anybody or everybody is talking about it is the way they lost. On the final play from scrimmage for the walk-off win, Ohio State gets the touchdown in the low red zone, or I should say at the goal line, and Notre Dame walks off the field the losers. Well, when the film was reviewed, not minutes after the game, they realized that there were only 10 Notre Dame Fighting Irish players on the field on defense.
Whoa.
Really difficult to win a football game when you don't have 11 guys defending the goal line, and the guy that was missing was a defensive lineman. So, really bad look for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and the coach said that they noticed it, but didn't have enough time to switch people out and was worried about getting a penalty. And I'm like, well, at that point, if you get a penalty, I mean, you're on the 1 yard line anyways.
Right.
What does it even matter? So I think it was just a brain gaffe. But I mean, Notre Dame kind of had that game won until that point. And so it sucks to see that. But what's your beef with the AP Top 25 poll, Rich?
Well, I mean,
they lost.
Number 25.
No, yeah. My argument's right at the bottom. The Fresno State? Are you kidding me?
Dude, they've been impressive.
No, Fresno State, they had that blowout victory over ASU.
They beat Purdue earlier in the year, right? Like, Fresno State's a problem. I'll tell you what I'm happy about. Colorado's not in there.
Why are you hating on Colorado?
I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying, like, I think they were a little overhyped. Can we all be very honest?
The state of Colorado had a rough one over the weekend.
No kidding. You can't keep them in the top 25. They better be number 26, AP.
They got their asses kicked. So the first time they faced real competition.
The Colorado Buffaloes were 19th, and they legitimately kicked them right out the door. They said
19 was so high for what they have done so far. Like, I get it. It's fun. It's impressive. It's flashy. But it's not a great football team. I mean, they face Pac-12 talent for the first time. They get their asses kicked.
Listen. The NFL is loving Taylor Swift going to games because now Swifties are buying Travis Kelce jerseys by the boatload.
Yeah.
So college football loves the fact, and I'm not saying the coaches, I'm not saying players or whatever it is, but college football as a whole loves the fact that people are tuning into college football because Prime is making it cool.
Oh, yeah, he has like 2 of the most streamed games in Fox's history.
dude, how many 11 million people was it that high?
It's insanity.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
they are consistently the top betting handle of the week every single week Colorado plays, and they even make a dent in some of what the NFL does.
Oh yeah.
It's just absurd.
Yeah, Colorado is the toast of the town, was the toast of the town before that 42-6 thrashing at the hands of the Oregon Ducks. And it doesn't get easier for them. Their next matchup is against 8th ranked USC.
ooh,
So
Caleb Williams is about to shred that defense.
not ideal. The AP top 25 looks like this now. Georgia at number 1 with 55 votes. Michigan is at number 2. Texas at 3. Ohio State jumps to 4. Florida State falls to 5. Penn State, the Nittany Lions at 6. Washington
Do they
at
have
7.
any notable alum? Penn State.
Let me,
LeVar Arrington.
LeVar Arrington, he went there. Who else?
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley is a Penn
Really
Stater.
good.
Yeah, that guy, he went there as well.
I can't think of any linemen.
Penn
Well-
State we're talking? Ben Franklin? Did Ben Franklin go to
I think so.
okay?
Dude, I think the Liberty Bell was actually cast on the campus in State College.
Oh, Rich Orberger.
That well,
Oh,
there it
third
is.
round
Yeah.
draft pick to the New England
Whip.
Patriots.
How
You know
about
what?
that?
We love that guy.
if only they had some sort of like chant or slogan that they could throw out.
Something
like-
that really galvanizes.
Like,
that gets
solidifies
everybody together.
Yeah.
Like something like we can, no, like we will.
something like that.
We are like we are Penn State. We are, I'll pitch it.
But the best athletes come out of Penn State, we all know, is Annie Ornberger.
Well, there's
Mhm,
no question. Well,
mhm.
she's a national champion. She won a national championship with the volleyball team, and her father will never let me forget it. She's like, she's the only one with rings. And I'm just like, yeah, I know, Pop.
Did you guys
I
win the
know.
Rose Bowl or did you get
Did you say that again?
Did you win the Rose Bowl or did you get beat?
The what ball?
Rose Bowl?
Oh, no, I don't think we played in that one.
Okay, so you got beat.
Were you in the parade? Were you in the parade?
Yeah. I mean, I went to the parade. We didn't play the game. I mean, we certainly didn't
crazy.
get absolutely diced up by
crazy.
Mark Sanchez and the USC
The
Trojans.
statute of limitations should be over for this, but how hammered did you get Rose Bowl week?
God.
Like just absurdly
Okay.
obliterated? Bowl weeks in
Let
general.
me tell you a quick story, and this is like one of those things that you're probably not supposed to share, but an agent or so took a couple of me, like, and my teammates out for drinks after the week of the Rose Bowl. It was like a party leading up to the game, and we went
An
to like
agent or something?
yeah, like an agent or a
Okay.
financial advisor, somebody who is trying to
Not supposed to be taking you out for drinks.
exactly. We were still college students. We were still, considered in the NCAA. So, anyways, this guy takes us out to the W in Westwood, out there in West Los Angeles, and we get all tuned up. And as a result, we all three of us, the 3 players who were out with me, we all overslept our alarms, and one of them didn't come down for like an hour, and we were like, "Oh my God, he's dead." Like the way they managed the way they managed it was you didn't have to check in for breakfast. You had to like weigh in, so that you literally put you on a scale first thing in the morning, and then you'd go to breakfast, and so that the strength coach would be sitting there with a clipboard and checking off every player as they weighed in. And one of our guys who was out with us, like, we're like, oh my God. Like, and so our coach was like, have you seen him, Richard? He had this monotone voice. I'm like, no, I don't even know who you're talking about.
You work with this guy years later on the air. Same voice.
It's the same voice. And so, he ends up strolling in. I want to say it was 30 or 40 minutes later. His hair was complete like bedhead. Like, I was like, what happened to you? He's like, I fell asleep on the bathroom floor. They were opening the bathroom door into my head.
I was dead for nearly 3 minutes.
Anyways, the Rose Bowl was awesome, guys. Washington's at number 7 on this list. USC is number 8.
Good.
Oregon's at 9, and Utah falls at 10. That's your top 10. Notre Dame falls out just at 11, but tough loss there. And now Head coach Freeman's got a lot to say. You're hearing the music, so you know what time
The
it
soothing
is.
sounds.
Guns N' Roses.
Right.
October 1st show.
Yeah. It's snappy.
The
Snapdragon
snappy.
Stadium. Yeah. Alice in Chains opening up. If you want to get tickets, you want to buy them, Ticketmaster.com. But if you want to win them, what caller number do we want? Or what do we want to do here?
Maybe 5.
Okay, caller 5.
Yeah,
Caller
real-
5
let's be
right now.
creative.
You're going to go see Guns N' Roses Snapdragon Stadium. That is this Sunday. I want to go to Guns N' Roses and Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah, so be calling number 5 if you want to win those tickets. Yeah, and we'll keep doing the thing.
All right, we had a Monday night double header. Eagles went down to Tampa Baker. They got a big win over the Bucks, 25-11 final. They caused a safety defensively against the Buccaneers. A late score for the Bucks made it look better on the scoreboard than it actually was. Jalen Hurts, he had kind of uneven night. 277 through the air, threw for a touchdown, but 2 interceptions. It was Swift out of the backfield, DeAndre Swift, Philadelphia Eagles running back, 16 carries, 130 yards, who did a lot of the work, and 9 receptions and 131 yards for A.J. Brown in the victory. Also, Bengals, they got a win, finally. We're threatening to drop to 0-3 on the season against the Rams. They were hosting them in Cincinnati. Here's the storyline going into this game. Joe Burrow had a roughed up calf from the preseason. He hasn't looked himself for the past 2 starts. It looked like he re-injured it in game 2, and he was questionable for this game. He gets the start. They get the win. And in the balance of the effort said, look, yeah, there's risk to re-injuring myself, but there's a bigger risk dropping to 0-3 on the season. Also, the Padres, they lost. It was a 2-1 loss to the San Francisco Giants.
Team they didn't want to lose to either.
No. I can't get that long. Can't lose there. No. Not at this point in the season when there's so much to play for. 2-1 loss to the Giants in the Bay Area. But Blake Snell shined. 6 scoreless innings again, 3rd consecutive game where he's done that. He has a league leading ERA of 2.25. He's just been astoundingly good in this contract year. I don't know if the Padres are going to be able to afford him. He's probably leaving in free agency, but before he leaves, he's going to win the NL Cy Young Award for the Pods.
Was that the last time that we see Snell on the mound for the Padres?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's going to give him an absurd amount of money for like 8 years, and unfortunately, the Padres just can't afford it. No matter how much Blake wants to stay with the team, and no matter how much the team wants to keep him, dollars and cents talk. Now, Blake Snell right now has a 1.20 ERA during his streak of 23 straight starts, allowing 3 earned runs or fewer. There's only one other person in the last 100 years to do that, and it's Bob Gibson during 1968, his Cy Young Award season.
Still wear that jersey.
So it's like Blake Snell is having this historic year, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, statistically the best pitcher in Major League Baseball this season, and the Padres still suck.
Well,
God, it makes you mad.
Well, here's the deal, and we talked about this briefly in the first hour of the show, and we continue on here because the realities are coming closer, right? Here's the score. The Padres lose another game or lose tonight, they're done. Their playoff hopes are dashed. The story's over. You could turn out the lights. If the Cubs and the Diamondbacks win tonight, it's also over, regardless of what the Padres do against the Giants. So one way or another, it could end tonight. If it does, well, then all of a sudden we are jolted into talking about the offseason in reality. Like, because, and I'm pretty sure this holds still. Back 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was a month ago when I brought this up, there hadn't been a single firing in Major League Baseball at the managerial level.
I think it's still true.
And I think that holds. I mean, we're days away from the finish of the season. There hasn't been a single manager fired. And to be perfectly honest with everyone out there, I mean, in every city who's, talking smack about their baseball team because it's been a disappointing year for you, Bob Melvin, in my opinion, deserves it the least. Like, if there's a manager who should be fired, okay, point to somebody else. I just don't believe Bob Melvin is the reason this team fell apart. Bob Melvin, for many, for myself, and I mean many, was a reason for great celebration when he was traded, weirdly from the Oakland A's to become the manager of the Padres. I felt like the postseason, while you can always question certain decisions, I also question how many of those decisions directly come from Bob Melvin or how many of them actually are attributed to the front office, but that's an argument for a different day.
Well, I think last night, bolstered your opinion, Rich, and that's because last night in post-game press conference, he was asked about Josh Hader and why they didn't use him, and because it was a one-run game, you'd think you bring in the closer in the 8th inning and maybe try to get him to go 4 outs. He's like, yeah, that's just not how we do things around here. And the way he said it made it seem like it wasn't his saying that. It was Josh Hader or front office saying that.
I'm telling you, I don't believe for a second that that we're seeing Bob Melvin pulling all the strings at the field level.
They'd probably be a playoff team if he was.
I don't disagree with that.
It's possible. Here's one thing I do know, and I shouldn't say I know it. I don't know it, but here's my best guess. We would have different results because one thing I'm confident in is he's not getting full access to calling the shots. I mean, look, this is a guy who's lived through this generation where the change has been made, and he's done it seamlessly. Because remember, a lot of collaboration going on in Oakland A's between the front office and the field level, because Billy Beane plays Moneyball, and he knows how important it is, in that structure, to give your general manager say on how to use players and things like that. And he accommodated that while he was in Oakland. He comes to San Diego. And obviously, this is a very analytics-driven front office, but AJ Preller is a micromanager. If you're believing what the sources have reported to all the writers who cover the Padres at The Athletic, well, if you have somebody constantly staring over your shoulder at every single decision you make and second-guessing you at every turn, that's an untenable work situation.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. How would you feel, though, if, let's say, out in New York, they get rid of Aaron Boone and all of a sudden he's available?
He might not want the job. That's the problem I've been seeing with this Padres team. And if Bob Melvin's not the guy next year, then who the hell's going to want to take it? Now, as the Padres, if it's AJ Preller still in charge of everything, if he's making the next hire, it's probably going to be Ryan Flaherty, who's already on the staff already. And that doesn't do anything for me, at least. Maybe it does for some Padre fans, but it does nothing whatsoever for me. Guys, have you gotten down like a rabbit hole on Reddit with this Padres team? Like Reddit isn't the most popular app for stuff like that, but last night I did. And it was comparing the 2023 Padres to the 2023 Mets and how much better the Mets handled their disaster than the Padres handled their disaster. And it goes back to the trade deadline and what this show was saying a little bit. Like, what are you going to get out of Josh Hader and Blake Snell if you go through the rest of this season with them on your team and you don't make the playoffs? The answer is going to be a reality in about one day. You're getting absolutely nothing for either of them when you could have restocked the farm. You could have made up for some of that Soto trade. You could have left yourself some options heading into 2024 that are now no longer available to you. You know what your option is now heading into 2024? And I'm sorry if I'm getting heated up, but your option is to trade Juan Soto. And you're going to be the general manager now that trades Juan Soto. And the second one to do so in his young career, which Juan Soto is not a player that should ever be traded, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what, Fletch? I disagree with a lot of that, actually. During the trade deadline, I did not want them to move pieces. I wanted them to cash in, man. Push all the chips in the middle of the table, and let's rock and roll.
Well, that was a stupid decision.
Well, it turns out it was. But I was, as a fan, that's what I wanted to see because I had belief that they were going to turn things around. I had belief that there was going to be a spark that caught fire somewhere and this team would heat up and just start rolling through. And man, oh man, I hope they do whatever they can to keep Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto has been the best Padre this year. I know he hasn't been the flashy, hitting to the opposite side of the ballpark home run that we saw the highlights of. But when you look at the stats, he has been the guy that they traded for.
Yeah.
He is the guy that they said, this is what we're going to make all these moves for. Don't give up now. I mean, he has been your guy and he's the more that Juan Soto comes out and he's talking, I love the guy. I think he's got a great personality. The one thing that does make me pause is when he did have the statement of, yeah, I mean, will we just give up out there?
Yeah, I don't know if I love Juan Soto the person. I don't know him personally. I don't love all the things I've heard from him, and I've been critical, highly critical of that instance when they were, I believe, in Seattle, where he admitted that yeah, there are times during the season where collectively they give up on
At least
games.
he told the truth.
I don't, but the thing about it is, if he's saying that, is he speaking for everybody? No, he can't speak for everybody because he's a singular person. Nobody can speak for really anybody else fully 100% unless that person has said something directly to you and you're repeating it. So what he's saying is, I give up.
But that's what we had seen on the field the entire season. That's what we had speculated was happening the entire season. And then someone says it, and it's like, now we're mad at him for saying it. That's what I'd never understood about people being upset at those comments.
No, see, because that's not the athlete's mind. Like when I'm telling you, I heard this throughout my career, like, oh, and they just gave up. And I'm listening to people talk this way, and I understand the frustration from fans. Do you know how rare that is? Where a player actually gives up, like how stupid that sounds,
which is
how
why it made us
insanely dumb that
I
sounds.
agree, yeah. Which is why it made us so mad watching on the field. It made me so mad watching what was happening on the field because I could see them giving up.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is not everybody gives up, right? But there are certain players who do, and Juan Soto outed himself as one of those players. Look, yeah, you could give him some credit, I guess, for telling the truth. But the fact that he's capable of giving up and he's getting tens of millions of dollars to swing his bat 5 times, get lost. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it too much work to ask you to swing your bat 5 times a game and then also catch, I don't know, a couple of lazy flies when they're hitting out to you? It's not that difficult of a task to just stay engaged for 9 innings. Now, it's a 162 game season. There are injuries. Obviously, this is an emotional roller coaster. But when you're talking that way to a fan base, where people are bending iron for a living, where they're nailing friggin' roof shingles, where they're tarring streets, and they're spending their hard-earned cash to go out there and support you, and you go, yeah, some days, we just wake up and we figure we can lose this game. Screw you.
Well, yeah, you're right. You were absolutely right on all of that. And I mean, that was just it, right? That was the feeling when we watched the Padres. It was almost like they thought, yeah, you know what? We'll get the next one. And they kept kicking that can down the road until they ran out of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got down to the end of this thing, and then they finally went on a bit of a run. They win 8 in a row, and then they now it's back to win, lose, win, lose, win, lose.
Having said all of that about Juan Soto, Travis, like, I mean, and like you said, it really is a struggle watching them be so inconsistent this season. I still want to keep them on this team. I mean, maybe with better leadership, maybe if they make some other changes on this roster, maybe some changes that we're not seeing coming, maybe it improves things. The reality of the situation is something needs to change. I know firing Bob Melvin, if that is the singular change that the Padres make this offseason, they haven't done enough. That's not going to fix what ails them. Or simply trading away Juan Soto and being like, well, that's done. Got some value back in the farm system.
But you're not going to get the same value that you gave up for him no matter what, and you're probably not going to win a World Series next year without him. So, like, the fact that you force yourself into this hand of having to trade Juan Soto potentially in this offseason.
I don't think they have to.
They don't have to, but they do need to rebuild a little bit here because you don't want the same results next year. And then you run into the same issue next year, where if you keep Juan Soto on the team for the entire season next year, at the end of the year, he walks with nothing. And you get nothing to show.
Let me ask you a question. What changes this culture the most? What shakes things up the most? And
Prowler gone.
Listen, okay, Prowler gone. That's a good example. I'll give you names. I'm just putting names on the wall. I'm not saying I'm campaigning for any of these people to be gone. And 70470, start your message with team if you want to weigh in. Machado, Prowler, Fernando Tatis Jr., Soto. Like, those are the 4 biggest names in terms of, like, if you move one of those 4 names, a lot changes.
Well, you're talking about like culture equity, right? And we could rank this Padres team. I could do it fairly easily, I think, on who has the biggest culture equity. And Preller and Machado are at the top of that list. And right now, that equity is negative for both of them.
I'm very curious what people would do. Like, if it came down to Preller and Machado, like who needs to go? I'm very curious what people would say at this point. Machado has been outed by Kevin Acee as maybe somebody who lacks leadership. Preller obviously has been outed as a micromanager. Which would make the biggest difference for the Padres? 70470. Start your message with team. Okay, coming up next, we got CD, Charles Davis, broadcaster. We're going to talk a little Monday Night Football with him coming up on the other side. Big Rich Stadium Fletch.
We're going to talk a little Monday Night Football and Ravens and Browns. That's the game they'll be calling next week or this upcoming week. Charles Davis from the NFL Network joins us next.
This update is presented by the County of San Diego HHSA. Starting off in the NFL, we had a doubleheader last night on Monday Night Football. Early game, Eagles beat up on the Bucs 25-11. Later on, Burrow and the Bengals got their first win of the year. They took down the Rams 19-16. NFL Week 4 gets started this Thursday night in Green Bay. The 2-1 Detroit Lions heading over to the 2-1 Green Bay Packers. Padres fall last night 2-1 in the Bay Area against the Giants. Padres elimination number now sitting at 1 game with 5 left. It's flu season, which means it's time to get your flu vaccine. The flu vaccine is the best way to protect yourself and make sure you don't miss out on fun with your loved ones. Visit SanDiegoCounty.gov/flu to find a location near you and schedule an appointment to stay safe against the flu.
Big Rich, CD and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. We just gave away some Guns N' Roses tickets. Another pair tomorrow for those, but also today, a pair of Coldplay tickets still on deck. They're going to be at Snapdragon Stadium this Thursday. You can go to Ticketmaster.com for tickets and info. We also have a $30 gift card to Prince Street Pizza to celebrate San Diego Restaurant Week. That is coming up. You can go to SanDiegoRestaurantWeek.com for info there. But both those items to be given away here very, very shortly on Big Rich, TD and Fletch.
Yeah. Looking forward to this next conversation. Gonna catch up with Charles Davis. Obviously, you see him constantly on the NFL Network for good reason. He's a supremely talented evaluator of football, CBS Sports color analyst alongside Ian Eagle. And they've got the Ravens at Browns coming up this weekend. But before we get to any of that, Charles, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're really good. Football's back. I mean, like,
yeah, exactly. We're still all riding the cloud, you know?
Oh.
I mean, there's just no getting around it. And I have to admit, I have not felt that we've all settled in yet. I still feel like we're taking off and still going, you know? Yeah. I don't think we ever hit a stage where it's like, baseball's up with the dog days where you're like, oh my God, this season's still going. I think basketball, I think hockey, unfortunately, because they have schedules of 80, 82, 162, but we get 17 that count, you know? So we really don't have that. But we also haven't settled in and shaken down exactly who everyone is yet either, because no one plays in the preseason.
No,
right.
Nobody gets out there. Oh, really quick. I just wanted to ask before we jump into what's coming up this week for your broadcast crew, or even the game that you called before. I know you probably didn't see the game in its entirety because you're very busy with your pregame and postgame festivities.
Sure.
But 70-20, the Miami Dolphins thumping the Broncos the way they did, a historic loss for the Broncos, 0-3 on the season. Sean Payton, obviously, one of the coaches that is well revered and regarded in this league. What do you make of what we just watched? Obviously you give a ton of credit to the Dolphins, but how much blame is there to share on the side of the Denver Broncos in terms of Russell Wilson or Sean Payton or, the defense? Where does it land for you?
It lands there. Look, this is a league that, in my opinion, you have to handle your own business. All right, we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to have the fun times where guys spat at each other, and we're going to have a little trash talk here and there, and all that, and everybody's going to have opinions about themselves and how the rest of the league goes. At the end of the day, you got to take care of your own. So, as much as you want to look at whatever it was in the past, whatever it is, what's happening with you right now? Now, does the past sometimes inform what you're doing? Absolutely. Okay, but 70 points. I remember one time I was playing in college and we got jumped on hard. And after the ball game, medium, what have you, I was just a kid playing, right? You're in college. And I just said, and then this play happened and, we were out of position here and this play happened over here. And, we were 2 steps off there. And in the middle of it, I stopped and said, yeah, but I can't explain away 56 points.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the day, to me, that's kind of what it comes down to. You can look at your tape, you can watch your stuff. Okay, we're off a little here. This guy didn't line up correctly here. If it's Notre Dame, you only had 10 guys on the field, not 11. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what's the bottom line? They gave up 70, and it could have been more because Miami had some mercy in them. All right. I think that for them, for Denver, hard look at everything. Russell Wilson's going to take all kind of whatever. And as you said, and I will tell you, I did not see all the game. I just saw highlights as we were getting ready for our game. But everywhere I go, I hear, what are they going to do with Russell? What are they going to do with Russell? Going to do with Russell? I went back and looked. He was like 23 of 36 or 38, 300 and something yards, and I realized there's a lot of garbage in there because of the score. I don't think he's their only issue. I mean, he's the lightning rod, but he's not their only issue. And Amy Trask, the great administrator for the Oakland Raiders, she said something that just resonates with me. Okay, great. You want to make a move? I get it. You want to make a move, and now what? And that's her expression. And now what? You made the move, meaning who takes over for Russell?
Right.
Who's the backup there?
Right.
Who's the person you're bringing in that's better? And now what? I have to keep that in my head a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, absolutely right. I don't think that loss falls squarely on Russell Wilson. Yeah, in fact, I mean,
hey, guys, real quick. Since Taylor Swift's dominating the world,
good. I feel more comfortable in this space, Charles. Go ahead.
Right, since she's dominating the world, and since my broadcast partner Ian Eagles, smartest guy going, and we're doing Jacksonville, Kansas City, Kelsey scores, and he says he found a blank space, and I just look at him and go, "Of course you said that because you're smarter than I am and you're quicker."
Right.
He nails all that. Since she's dominating. And Travis Kelce's jersey sales are up, 400% or whatever it is because of this. Look, all this that we're putting into it and all this that is happening right now, how do we explain karma? Because that's what everyone's going to with Sean Payton. Her big hit karma, Sean Payton, all this stuff in preseason. They were poorly coached. This was the worst franchise. This was this. Nathaniel Hackett's like, look, I'm having my troubles in New York. I'm back to Zach Wilson, but we ain't give up 70.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, there is some bad blood.
Ooh, and well played, sir. Well played.
Hey, Charles, Monday Night Football, just quick before we get into this week's game, how do you feel about the doubleheader on Monday nights?
I don't like it. I know why they're doing it, and I get it. Like, if I were an executive, I'd probably do it. Okay, it's all perspective and what's best for your company. I don't like it strictly for this reason. I like to just lock in on one game.
Yeah,
and I have a chance on a Monday night. Here's my one game. I can lock in. I can go. The flip side of it is, look, you're getting the two. You figure out which one you like, and most people now, I'm gonna let you in a little secret. I've heard that a lot of people have TVs where you can double box it.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to do that. so that becomes a little bit of an issue. So you have to understand, my opinion comes straight from the Paleozoic era. All right. So that's a little bit of a problem. But overall, I'm not crazy about it because I grew up on Monday Night Football, one game, boom, this is it. This is the feature. This is all that. Remember, informed things coming through from how you were brought up, how you were raised, how you were imprinted. And having two and all that kind of throws me off my game a little.
And what's wild about that, Charles, is the majority of people watching you on Sundays have Sunday Ticket and are double boxing you. So
now you can have a quad box on the YouTube. Yeah. My son has informed me there's a quad box, and he's going for the 4 every single time. But he's young, he's agile with his brain, his eyes. He can do all those things. But you're right about that. I think it's just simply how it's presented, and each day is different. Sundays, there's a bunch of games. There is. You're one of many. Monday night always felt extremely special because it was the game. Sunday night is extremely special because it is the game. That's it. That's all you're getting. It almost feels like I'm, 8 years old, and on the weekend you get one college football game. That's it. And now that's all you got back in the good old days.
Charles, if we rewind back to March of 2023 or 2022, 2023, you were doing your draft stuff for NFL.com, and you had CJ Stroud as the number 1 overall pick, not Bryce Young. Now, Bryce Young ends up going number 1. CJ Stroud goes number 2. Do you think the Carolina Panthers are regretting that decision already?
No, I don't think they are. I don't. I think that by the time it was said and done, too, because by the time I did my last mock, I did have Bryce at 1 and CJ at 2. I think I did 3 this year. Some of my brethren do like 15, 20 mocks. I don't know how they do it because doing one is enough for me. But we'll get into mock stuff some other time and when I do my next therapy session. But bottom line is, I don't think they're regretting it because they knew who they drafted and how they felt about the person and what they think is going to happen. They're not ready to jump ship yet, but let's be honest about, we're all human, right? Someone in that Carolina organization, and I would probably start with ownership, is probably asking questions like, hey, what do we? But here's the other part. Ownership was fully involved in this decision, and I think ownership voted for Bryce Young. So if they want to flip it around now, more power to them, but I would hesitate on flipping it way too soon. I think it's too early to make that determination. Let's let this bad boy play out for a couple of years and see where it goes. Stroud, I thought he'd be a good player. He has been an exceptional player for them so far. Bryce Young has had more struggles, but I've watched that receiving core too. He's going to need some help.
You've got a great week 4 matchup in the AFC North that you're going to be on the call for, Charles, alongside Ian Eagle and your sideline reporter, Evan Washburn, as the Ravens are visiting the Cleveland Browns, both off to 2-1 starts. A lot of injuries on the side of the Ravens. They're banged up on the offensive line. They definitely have some injuries on the defense that are going to impugn their ability to defend. Deshaun Watson, who's starting to come out and become the Deshaun Watson of old, and that Cleveland defense has been virtually unstoppable. What do you make of this game? Who do you like, at least early in the week, as you're preparing for this call?
Well, since I'm going to call it, I'm not going to like either team because let me tell you something. You guys know, if you call a ball game, I've discovered that the vast majority of people think you're a lousy broadcaster, a lousy analyst if their team is losing.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but in real time, when emotions are going, say something nice about my team. Well, they just had 4 touchdowns you just gave up. What do you want me to say? But that's how it works. What I like about this matchup is this Baltimore team, despite all of the injuries that they've had, were stunned that they lost on Sunday to Indianapolis. They went into it with, I believe, 7 starters missing to start the game and 5 more during the game. Yet they're right there with a chance and multiple chances and should have won the game. Hey, Matt Gay was unbelievable, wasn't he, kicking the ball?
My gosh, yeah.
4 field goals over 50. And by the way, it wasn't exactly perfect conditions out there. Okay, it was soggy. He was hitting, the wet football that we talk about with the guys playing with. Of course, the K ball they bring in, but still not exactly ideal conditions. And he was dead solid perfect all day long. They gave up too many yards running the ball. That's not normal for the Ravens. Zach Moss, well over 100 yards running it. Had much of the injuries, but one thing you'll never get John Harbaugh saying is that injuries have impacted us. They have the next man up mentality. Eric DeCosta, the GM, go find some players. And they always do. They've had injury issues. When was the last time we talked about the Ravens during the season when we talk about injury issues? It is the weirdest thing. It's every single year. Yet every single year they find ways to be a factor and be close to the playoffs. It is the strangest phenomenon. So they get a lot of credit for how they manage it and handle it. They're going to do the same thing. The tough part is going to be exactly what you just talked about. Cleveland's defense. The stats are ridiculous. I was reading, I was in the wee hours this morning doing a little homework. 39 possessions on defense, 1 touchdown given up for the season. No one has taken a snap inside the 10-yard line on Cleveland's defense.
My goodness.
No one. 0 snaps inside the 10-yard line.
What the heck?
Okay? The touchdown they gave up, they're not going to say it. It was a busted coverage. Someone blew a coverage. That's the touchdown they gave up. This team is fierce. They absolutely throttled Tennessee last week. So they say what you want about Tennessee, struggling offensive line, all that. Derrick Henry, 20 yards, running the football. Ryan Tannehill, 104 yards throwing the football. Myles Garrett just sacked him again. 3.5 sacks on the game. They destroyed them. All right. This team, and by the way, Cincinnati they throttled in the opener. We did that game. This team is getting better and better on defense. Jim Schwartz has the confidence is infused already. They're bolder and bolder. And by the way, the defense wasn't reading. They lost to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh didn't move the ball against them.
Nope.
Pittsburgh's defense won the game for them. And Deshaun Watson had the game that looked like the Deshaun Watson and why you gave up 3 picks for him. Now, can he continue to be that guy, continue to elevate? If he is, Cleveland's going to be dangerous because he has to help make up for Nick Chubb not being there. And he certainly did last Sunday. That's what they were looking for. Now let's see if that continues for them. But defensively, I don't care who you are in the league. I don't want to deal with them. Right now, what you want to say is, can we get Miami versus Cleveland?
No kidding.
And see what that looks like, because that would be fun. But by the way, Miami's going to get their test this week because
They got the
not
Bills.
like it's not like Buffalo's playing poorly on defense.
No, they can shut you down now. Hey, Charles, I hate to shut you down. This is every time you come on the show, I'm like, can we have an hour with CD?
Well, what happens is I talk so darn much, I don't let you get the stuff in, so I apologize for that. And by the way, I know the debate continues to rage. Brandon Staley, go for it, not go for it.
Oh.
I just read a great article in the Athletic by Ted Nguyen, and if you ever read his stuff, it is really good about good decisions, bad decisions.
Yeah.
I highly urge you to go there today and read his reasoning on what Brandon did, because he said he started out where the column was bad decision, and by the end he put it in good decision. Wait till you read his reasoning why. Ted Nguyen's one of the better writers out there. He really does a great job on that stuff. And he has me thinking more, because I was easily in the camp of bad decision. But I had reading it, I understood more about where it was coming from. Still didn't agree with the decision. They got away with it as far as I'm concerned. But it's a really good article. I urge you and your readers to go there. Ted Nguyen's article, The Athletic, Good Decisions, Bad Decisions. He does it every Tuesday around the NFL, and he's terrific.
Yeah, he really is. I follow him on Twitter as well. Hey, Charles, we appreciate the time as always. We'll do it again real soon.
Look forward to it. You guys take care. Continued success. You guys are great.
There he goes. There he goes. Charles Davis. He'll be alongside Ian Eagle and Evan Washburn for that game in Cleveland against the Baltimore Ravens. And before we go, just want to chat to you about Toyota, the San Diego County Toyota dealers. I own a 4Runner, drove it to work today, drove it up to LA this weekend, drive it to all the Aztecs games. I mean, this is the best car I've ever owned. I can rely on it every time the engine turns over, get that roar, get going, rolling to whatever destination I choose. It is our trip car. We have another car sitting in the driveway. We don't like to take it on long trips. We just don't. It's not as comfortable as the Toyota 4Runner. It's not as reliable as the Toyota 4Runner. We've had no issues. And so I implore you, if you're driving around a car where you're worried about the check engine light coming on and off, or you're dealing with stuff with it, it keeps breaking down. Toyotas they seem to last forever. If you're driving around thinking about an SUV, a car, truck, head to the San Diego County Toyota dealers. They have great deals on super reliable vehicles. Customer service is key. They're incredible over there. And they also have you, if you're looking to go green, right? Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup of electrified vehicles is outstanding. I was just driving around in my mother-in-law's Prius this weekend. I was up in LA with them. So come on down to Toyota or check out their inventory at toyota.com. Toyota, we make it easy. And coming up on the other side, we're going to bounce around the NFL. Some headlines we missed we'll cover next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on a Tuesday. CD, Charles Davis, NFL Network, CBS sports broadcaster. Always awesome catching up with him. Looking forward to giving away these Coldplay tickets. That show's coming up real soon at Snapdragon Stadium.
And it's sold out, so this is your only chance to get tickets.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Also, we talked about giving you a little update on some stories around the league here in football, and we're still going to do that.
Yeah, all that coming up next. Big Rich, TD, Fletch.
Hour number 3, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by the County of San Diego, HHSA. We are going to start off here in the NFL. In the early game yesterday, Eagles beat up on the Bucs 25-11. Later on, Joey Burrow and the Bengals would get their first win of the year. They took down the Rams 19-16. NFL Week 4 gets started this Thursday night in Green Bay. The 2-1 Lions visiting the 2-1 Packers. Padres fall to the Giants last night 2-1 in the Bay Area. Padres' elimination number now sits at 1 game with just 5 more remaining. In spite of all that, Blake Snell, fantastic once again. He has the inside track to win the Cy Young Award. Right now, Vegas has him at a minus 4,000 favorite. You can get it all the way up to minus 6,000. If you haven't gotten your updated COVID vaccine yet, make sure you do it. Getting the COVID vaccine is the safest and most effective way to protect yourself. Visit SanDiegoCounty.gov/coronavirus to schedule an appointment to get your updated COVID vaccine.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who
We're
celebrate.
going full Star Wars on these, dude. Yeah, it's Jay. Like your 7 o'clock hour. I wish I could play it back for you right now.
Ow!
It was very R2D2.
Yeah, I'm just feeling really weird. I haven't had any coffee yet today. It definitely feels like a Tuesday. I got roughed up last night by the kids. I mean, it's life.
I know what you're talking about. I have a dog.
Yeah, you're right there with us. You feel that pain.
You
feel
know,
that pain.
Sarah came home from work and she walks out in the garage and comes back inside, and I hear, thunk. She opened up a bottle of Boosa.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, I was like, what? Wait. She's like, I just want to taste.
Yeah, just taste. Just, I want to smell it.
The espresso martinis were poured.
Yeah, that Bar Car Friday. Honestly, it can't come soon enough this week. Bar Car Friday brought to you by Keg and Bottle. Last week we had Boosa espresso martinis. They're made with oat milk. So if you have like a sensitive dairy stomach, which a lot of people do nowadays, I've never had that issue. Are you a dairy guy?
I mean, if I drink a lot of milk, yeah, I have problems. But I think everybody does.
Hold on. So you have a problem drinking milk, and then you decided Travis should drink a gallon right here on air.
Like if I drink a lot of milk, I have problems, but not a normal amount. Like I used to come home every day after school and drink like a thing like this big of chocolate milk and be fine.
Oh, you're getting old now.
Yeah, you did that to me, and then you decided Travis should eat a chip that has killed a man.
I didn't name the segment Travis Tries.
Oh, I didn't name the segment Travis Tries.
The text line did.
The people have spoken. This is what the people
Travis
want.
tries to live through this chip.
It's a Travis Tries Tuesday.
We all knew that going into the show that eventually you would be threatening your life for all entertainment. As a matter of fact, already the text line lighting up. Gallon challenge, Travis. Let's do it. And let's see what else.
That was turned down by legal. They said we can't do that.
Yeah, actually, that's true. That wasn't even you.
No.
We had somebody who said, yeah, Travis isn't drinking a gallon of milk.
Travis Tries Hot Chip.
Travis Tries Hot Chip is okay. We can do that.
I doubt that that's okay. In fact, I bet the gallon of milk is better than the hot chip.
Well, I will do both at once.
I will say this.
Might have to.
We're not going to tell anybody we're doing the hot chip.
Bingo.
Yeah. Luckily, we haven't said a word about it.
Yeah. We're not going to tell anyone in this building who can get us in legal trouble. But one of us will eat it at the end of the season.
They've been pulled from stores. We essentially have contraband and not our office.
I tell you, sell it on eBay. If you can get a mill for it, do it.
A mill?
Yeah, you can probably do it. I haven't looked at our preseason predictions on those yet, but I wonder how we're doing.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
should
like
do a
I'm not
check-in.
doing that well.
We should do a check-in after week 4.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we should probably do a quarterly, like, and
I
then
feel like I had the Bears over, and God, that feels like a terrible take now.
I don't feel like I'm doing well at all.
I don't know.
I feel like I'm eating that damn
Tell
chip.
you what, I say so many things on a daily basis. And when people hold me to account, I just assume they know better about what I said than what I know I said.
Jeez, text line just got dark. Instead of Travis Tries Tuesday, Travis Dies Tuesdays.
Jeez, yeah.
That's what we're careening towards.
I didn't know your mom was up this early.
Yeah, she always texts in. She's like, I hate him.
Yeah, I like his brother Wayne a lot better. Is your brother Wayne? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I remember.
It's Wayne. Yeah.
Evan Washburn is going to be joining the show in a few minutes, and it's funny because Evan Washburn is the sideline reporter for Charles Davis,
Nice.
who was just on the show.
Also, we have Coldplay tickets coming up. So if you want to win those Coldplay tickets, it's a sold out show. That's Thursday
Mhm.
at Snapdragon
They're
Stadium.
sold out Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday is what we have tickets for, and this is the only place you're going to get them.
Okay, so if you want to see Coldplay, I would suggest you keep listening because we have those. We also have a $30 gift card for restaurant week. We're going to give that a little later on. Jets head coach Robert Saleh was asked about his starting quarterback, and there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of news and reporting that the Jets are kicking the tires on a lot of different names out there. A lot of different names are calling up the New York team, asking them about an opening at a certain position. He said in his update to the press this week, our unquestioned quarterback is Zach Wilson.
Why?
I concur. Why?
Yeah. Why? I don't get this at all. You guys have a Ferrari of a team that you were building, and then your driver went down, and you decided, we don't need a driver.
I'll say this. What else is he supposed to say? You know, I understand what you're saying, and Ben, what you're saying, but like Travis, when you are, I don't know, as a dad, there are certain things that you're allowed to say to your kids, certain things you're not allowed to say to your kids.
All right.
You know, around the holidays, there are certain secrets that are kept. You know, there are certain words that remain away from the ears of the children folk. As a coach, I think you got to treat the media like your kids. Like I'm gonna give them the information that's relevant, that the information that's needed for us to continue this relationship. But you don't need to know everything. Internally, I promise you, the Jets are looking for a replacement. There is no question about that. But he can't say that publicly.
Well, there's the Carson Wentz of it all. Why has that not been more of a conversation? Because Carson Wentz is a cancer? Because Carson Wentz isn't good enough? Because I swear to God, I look back at those numbers he put up with the Colts, and I'm like, that's not a bad quarterback. And I promise you that's a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. So what are the Jets doing here if they're not at least making a phone call?
I guess where I question it is when the head coach doesn't leave the out. You know, it's when you throw in unquestioned, it gets a little dicey.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan both had reached out to New York Jets about the QB job. According to reports, the Jets don't have interest as of yet. So they're hanging in there with Zach Wilson.
Well, you need another game where he throws for like 40 yards.
Well, yeah. Look, this was a much better game than Patriots last year. Last year, I think he threw for less than 100 yards. The offense in total, I think, had less than 100 yards. They scored 3 points.
Slightly better than crap is still crap.
But okay, hang on. Let me pull up the box score. It wasn't as bad as you're making it out to be. Okay, so here's
good.
Zach Wilson, 15 of 29, which is not good, but 200 yards, a touchdown, 0 picks. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not good.
The 15 of 29 is pretty
Sorry,
terrible.
I was reading Mac Jones's stats.
Thank you.
Hang on.
I was going to say, I know it was worse than that.
18 of 36, so 50% passing. Not good. 157, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, but he was also sacked 3 times. Now, you say, well, it was his offensive line. Sometimes.
In one of the sacks, no one touched him. Have you guys seen that video yet?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's your fault.
He just fell down.
Yeah. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need to huddle up here, do a little post game conference. In that Patriots Jets game that you were just talking about, Sauce Gardner, he wants some fines to be doled out to Mac Jones because there were some problems out on the field. It got a little chippy. There was a little scuffle out there. Actually, there was a few scuffles, but after the loss, Sauce Gardner, he came out to social media and claimed that Mac Jones gave him a little locker room tappy tap on one of those plays as he was getting up off the field. You know, the one right between the legs.
Yeah, ball tap.
Yeah, ball tap. A little ball tap.
He gave
Yeah.
he gave him I mean, it's as clear as day.
It is. Yeah, so there was no call in the field. He throws out the allegations. People say you're crazy. Well, he immediately throws out a video from someone from the stands that had posted it online and put this up saying, I'm posting this so I don't get fined. Now there are several videos from several different angles. It's a ball tap.
It was the backhanded little ball tap.
Yeah. And I mean, and Sauce did what he should do. He threw him right out of the club. It was very funny to watch. Oh, incredible stuff. All right, we're going to get back to all the NFL headlines we missed from week 3 of action. But right now, we're joined by Evan Washburn. He does sidelines for CBS alongside Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. They got a big one coming up in Cleveland. Baltimore Ravens heading out there to face the Browns, both 2-1 teams. Before we get to that game, though, Evan, want to talk to you about just the NFL in general this season. It feels like it was such a long wait for the season to get here. And then all of a sudden we've blinked. It's the end of week 3. And I feel like so much has happened. I'm having a hard time catching my breath. So I guess we'll start with the most important. How do you feel about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift?
Well, good to be with you guys as always. Look, it's part of the tornado that is this week-to-week entertainment reality show, however you want to view it. And I'm with you. It's wild to find ourselves at week 4. And look, I've been to Arrowhead a bunch, obviously consumed plenty of football as you all have. And it was funny coming out of our game, because we were doing our game simultaneously in Seattle, and it was the late game. And to see your feed usually is more of a collage of what's happened throughout the day. And you get a sense of the early games, the press conference, sound bites, big plays. I couldn't really go on social media because it was flooded with every angle known to man of that story.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And we were all here for it, to be quite honest. Hashtag trailer. It's fine.
Hashtag trailer.
Hey, the Browns, nearly a 3-0 team, if not for the Steeler defense, who eked one out for them. Are the Browns the real deal?
I think I'm still in wait and see mode in terms of the whole picture there with Cleveland, because I think their defense could be and might be the best that we've seen in a number of years. I think will probably be the best statistically in the league if the key pieces can stay healthy. Jim Schwartz has proven to be their defensive coordinator, the biggest addition they made in the offseason, and they made a few. But I need to see consistent weeks of Deshaun Watson, not necessarily being the 2019-2020 MVP version, but at least a mid-tier top 10-ish type quarterback. And I thought last week he obviously statistically had his best game as a Brown, and you started to see those flashes. But I think I'm going to need to see more than just 3 weeks.
Evan, your sideline interviews with Patrick Mahomes or Kermit the Frog over the years have been fantastic. You had the happy birthday one this year. And I think heading into the season, everyone thought, well, if you're going to put an MVP rankings out, he would be at the top. Not so fast. Tua Tagovailoa doing his best Patrick Mahomes impression over the weekend. He had the no-look pass, put up 70 points on Denver's pitiful defense. Tua Tagovailoa through the start of this season, he's been incredible.
Unbelievable. And it's a great story. And I think that goes hand in hand really in any sport with the MVP race, the campaign, if you will. We love a great story. And Tua would be an incredible one for so many reasons, most notably if he can stay healthy, because last year was so concerning on that front. And then you couple that with his command of this offense, so many doubters heading into the season, and the way that they're playing. All that said, I think Mahomes has moved into that Jordan category, maybe a LeBron at his peak, where you could just give it to him every year. Because I'll tell you, coming away from what was an ugly game in Jacksonville, I think I'm more impressed with Mahomes this year than I've been in some of his statistically elite MVP seasons, because of what's around him outside of Travis Kelce. It's a lot of, I would say at times, inexperience most notably, but, subpar performers. And then you compare that to what Tua's got. And I only imagine what Mahomes would do. So Tua's a great story, but I think Mahomes is still the best player in the league.
Evan Washburn joining us on the broadcast team alongside Ian Eagle and Charles Davis ahead of this game in Cleveland. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Browns in the AFC North showdown that everybody's really waiting for, because I think these are the class of the AFC North right now, with the issues with Cincy and Joe Burrow. The Steelers kind of out to a shaky start, starting to recover well, but both these teams playing good, regardless of injuries on Baltimore side, and regardless of the suspension that led to a little bit of rust still being on Deshaun Watson on the side of the Browns. Okay, so we'll get to that game still in a second. I really wanted to ask you about the game that just was, that you just covered with your broadcast team, Seattle, Carolina. Geno Smith, man. I mean, again, like I said, we blink, it's already the end of week 3 and so much has happened. Geno Smith is still delivering on the season that he had a year ago. I mean, he has become a real franchise quarterback in the NFL. How has this happened? I still can't figure it out.
No doubt. It's right there with Tua in terms of an incredible story. And last year was kind of the shock of it. And the story isn't going away. And I think his performance and the way he's holding that position down, he's playing better than he did last year. And I think it speaks to a mentality that's required and is really rare in this league, specific to the quarterback position, where you get labeled a backup or a bust. Now, Geno was a second-round pick, so this isn't a Zach Wilson situation, but he never bought into that. And he had the great line after last year's week 1 win on Monday night. They kept writing me off. I just didn't write back. The dude honestly believes it. And at times, and he admitted this to us, and I remember experiencing it over the course of his time as a backup, like it came across a little bit cocky and maybe made some folks uncomfortable, because as a backup, you're supposed to kind of just, hey, I'm here to support the starter. I'm basically like his life coach and his sideline, whatever he needs. And Geno did those things as a backup, but you talk to any coach that had him, and him specifically, he went into every practice with the mentality, they're wrong, I should be starting, and I'm going to show you how. And over the course of time, in the perfect environment in Seattle, where Pete Carroll just can't get enough of competition, he actually got better as a backup, which is rare in the NFL. And that allowed John Schneider and Pete Carroll to make the decision, hey, let's move on from Russ, because we actually know something nobody else does. Geno can play. He proved it last year, and I think he's cementing it this season. And it's fun to watch.
Evan, you guys are calling Ravens at Browns this week. Ravens lose a overtime game to the Colts last week, and there was some different quotes by Lamar, who came out. He was upset, obviously, by it. The coach is upset by it. I mean, did the Colts expose some cracks in the armor for the Ravens?
I think what they exposed, one, and this is well known, you can't turn the ball over. 2 fumbles were critical for Baltimore. It's still a work in progress offensively. The conditions weren't great. We know that. I think this offense is going to be better than what it's been the last few years. It's going to be more balanced. It's going to be more dynamic with Todd Monken running it. Greg Roman did something special in 2019 and allowed Lamar to find himself. But I think this offense needed to take another step. But they admitted, I do their preseason games living here in Baltimore, that there was going to be growing pains, and I think there still are. So I think that's a reality. And look, the injury thing's a reality. You're down your center, you're down your left tackle, you're down Odell. I mean, those things, coaches, players, they hate, and they always say it with no excuses, next man up. I get that, but the reality is those guys play, they start, they get paid a lot for a reason, and when they're not out there, it impacts your performance.
Evan, you look at the statistical leaders through 3 weeks of play so far, and Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in the NFL. Now, that's what the stats would tell you. 1,075 passing yards, 9 touchdown passes. But what the hell is wrong with this Vikings team?
Well, that's what's the beauty of football, though. It's the ultimate team game. And now I agree, quarterbacks are the most valuable pieces to a team. They touch the ball in every play, yada, yada, yada. That's why they make what they do. But everybody's got to be at their best around them for a team to find success. And I think that's what you're seeing with the Vikings. And the reality and the margins in this league for basically everybody now. Maybe San Francisco has moved into that area where the margin isn't as small, but They won so many close games last year, and I think this year you're seeing a regression to the mean a little bit, and that's what's so maddening if you're a fan of this in this league or of a team, especially like a team like the Vikings, where last year was special. You got Kevin O'Connell coming in year one, you're winning all these close games, you kind of get on that momentum train, and this year the start has been the antithesis, and I think again it speaks to largely. It's a lot more than the quarterback most of the time, unless you have a guy like Mahomes or a select few in this league.
Evan, awesome stuff as always. Looking forward to hearing your call alongside Ian Eagle and Charles Davis this Sunday as the Browns host the Ravens. Awesome as usual. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, always good to be with you guys. Have a good one.
There he goes, Evan Washburn. I mean, really, this guy is, I mean, his life is centered around football. Every Sunday he's in a different city, taking in the atmosphere.
And March Madness.
And March Madness, dude. Yeah, he's
big time college basketball guy.
On the court for CBS. It's unreal. Okay, his coverage is great. Also, by the way, the environment in Seattle against Carolina Panthers.
Unreal.
They forced 8 false start penalties by the Carolina. 8 false start penalties by the Carolina Panthers. The 12s in Seattle is a thing. I played there. It's loud. It's uncomfortable. They make it hard on visiting teams. All right, Coldplay tickets. We still haven't given them away because we're going to be doing that coming up next on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. But before we run, and speaking of running, got to talk to you about my feet.
Good.
I mean, holy smokes. These art supports from the Good Feet store, they've really restored my back. So you slip them into your shoes. You wear them all the time, right? Whatever your favorite footwear, or if you switch your shoes, you just take the art supports, take them out of the shoes you're wearing today, put them into the shoes you're going to wear tomorrow. And all of a sudden you start feeling all the joint pain that's been bothering you melt away. Foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, back pain. It just starts to fade. That's exactly what had happened with me. A week into wearing these art supports, I used to wake up with back pain. Now I don't. You get the picture. So get to the Good Feet store. These art supports are precision fit to your personal needs, lifestyle, profession, and footwear. And they are highly trained experts. They've been doing this for 30 plus years. They have 200 plus locations around the US and overseas. The only place to get the Good Feet solution is at the Good Feet store. Check them out today.
All the stories you didn't know you need to know, Four Corners, and Coldplay tickets coming up next.
This update is presented by the County of San Diego HHSA. We will begin here in the NFL. We had a doubleheader last night. Early game, Eagles beat up on the Bucks 25-11. Later on, Joey Burrow and the Bengals got their first win of the year as they took down the Rams 19-16. That was a push from Vegas. Bengals just happy that their franchise quarterback, Joe Burrow, he played the full game without further injuring his calf. NFL Week 4 begins this Thursday night in Green Bay as the 2-1 Detroit Lions will visit the 2-1 Green Bay Packers. Padres fall to the Giants last night 2-1 in the Bay Area. Padres elimination number now sits at 1 game, 5 games remaining. In spite of all that, Blake Snell was fantastic once again last night. He bolsters his Cy Young resume for the season. Vegas currently having Blake Snell as the odds-on favorite to win the award. No one else is really even close. If you haven't gotten your updated COVID vaccine yet, make sure to do it. Getting the COVID vaccine is the safest and most effective way to protect yourself. Visit SanDiegoCounty.gov/coronavirus to schedule an appointment to get your updated COVID vaccine.
Yeah, man. Coldplay tickets coming up here in the next 7 minutes. We're going to do that. So make sure you got it locked in here. If you want to go see Coldplay this Thursday, Snapdragon Stadium, you can go to Ticketmaster.com for info, but you're not getting tickets because it's sold out. But it's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. It's San Diego Sports 760 and our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival at the T-Mobile Arena out in Las Vegas was spectacular. If you were able to tune in for that, Foo Fighters were absolutely insane. Sheryl Crow did this 90s throwback set. It was fantastic. But you can check out all the photos, the videos, and behind the scenes backstage content now at iHeartRadio.com/festival. But if you want to relive it, is that what you're supposed to say? Is that why it's hyphenated like that?
I don't think so.
Relive it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird. It's weird separation. If you want to relive it or relive it, you can stream the whole content right now, or not right now, on Hulu starting October 10th. So
I'm actually excited for that. I'd like to see it. I want to go to one of those things.
It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. We're pointing at phones. What?
Well, we have a very special guest who's going to be joining us on the show here. It's going to be Doc Chow. And I think you got to send him a StreamYard link there, Fletch.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So the Pro Football Doc is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. I'll send you the email. I forgot to do that before the show. Full disclosure. In the meantime, did you see this Jordan Travis Tiger King situation?
Yeah. Tiger King. Well, okay. He's obviously searching for some cash because he was asking Joe Burrow. I think it was last week to send him $20,000 so it'd help him get out of jail. Now he wants to sue Jordan Travis, right?
Yeah. So he said on social media that his usage of the Tiger King is against the law. He said, because it's my trademark. And so Jordan Travis, the reason why this is happening is because he's the quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles, and they've beaten LSU this season. They've also beaten the Clemson Tigers. Actually, that was this past Saturday, and that was a close game on the road, by the way. Went up there to Death Valley and survived the Clemson Tigers. But holy smokes, Joe Exotic. Is he still in jail, by the way?
He is still in jail. Yeah, I was trying to see if, does a trademark hold up while you're in prison? Can you hang on to that trademark?
I don't even know if he actually has a trademark.
Do you remember when that took over the world?
Yeah,
it was like the first 3 weeks of COVID
because there was nothing to do,
and it was like that. And then the Michael Jordan documentary absolutely took over the entire world.
That's right. That was a good time.
Yeah, it really was. It really, really was. All right. Is he ready? The good doctor is ready. That was our fault. We got our things tied up here on this. But Dr. David Chao joins us right now. You can see all of his information at Pro Football Doc on X. Also, SICScore.com, SICScore.com. It is, to me, frankly, it's the place. If you are a fantasy football owner, if you're a sports bettor, you need to go to this website because you have all your updates available immediately. That's the part of this I love, is Dr. David Chao is able to watch video and give you immediate ideas as to what the injury may be and timelines into return. Doc, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Omaha, Audible. That's me.
Hey, Doc, I wanted to ask you because it's germane to the situation we watched last night with Joe Burrow and this calf injury and the issues that he's having. It's a calf, right? So for many of us, we're thinking obviously that's really uncomfortable to play with. And nobody wants to be injured. But how significant or severe is this? Because you remember Aaron Rodgers had a calf injury. It led to an Achilles tear. Maybe that tear happens anyways the way he was tackled. Kevin Durant had a calf injury. It led to an Achilles tear. Maybe the Achilles tear happens anyway. So how careful do the Bengals need to be with Burrow long-term?
Well, of course they want to be careful with him long-term, right? He's a $275 million guy. But they've got good medical care there. Their head athletic trainer actually used to be with the Chargers. I know him very well. He was a young intern with the Chargers. So they're getting good care out there. But here's the issue. Kevin Durant, I think, was always more Achilles than calf. Aaron Rodgers, I think it's more Leonard Floyd on his back as he's trying to get away. And maybe the age of 39. Joe Burrow, look. What we do, you're right, at Sports Injury Central is do injury analysis versus injury reporting. The reports on Monday were that last Monday that he wasn't going to play. And the line, moved from 6.5 to 2.5, 2. And we're like, nah, I think he's still going to play. Why? 1 week doesn't solve the calf issue. This Joe Burrow calf issue happened July 27th in training camp. He rested all of the preseason, yet he still aggravated it week 2. Now that he got through week 3, modified, ball out quick, not ever looking to run, it's not over. They still have to be careful in week 4. This is something that's going to bother him well into October. But, no one wants to start the season 0-3. Everyone knows the numbers are pretty dismal if you start the season 0-3. So they're still going to be careful. And the Joe Burrow calf saga is not over yet. And it perhaps affects him a little bit more in the sense that it is his back foot instead of push off in terms of his throwing motion.
Doctor, if Joe Burrow just said, hey, I'm going to sit out, I'm going to take off, how long would it take him to be out before it would heal? I mean, because you're saying he's going to be dealing with this through October. That's while he's playing on it, right?
Well, here's the thing, right? That's all relative. I mean, he already rested almost all of the preseason. If you're wanting me to say, when is he 100% healed with 0 risk, it might be towards the end of the season or season. In 4 weeks, he's pretty good. 6 weeks, even better. Sure, 2 weeks is better than 1 week. It's all relative. I mean, when is it, too dark to play the next hole of golf, right? It's all relative. When is it, or, everything's relative. When does Rich Ornberger have enough money that he doesn't need to work anymore, right? It's all relative.
He doesn't get paid now. This is for fun.
Yeah. And the answer, not until they put me in the dirt, Doc.
Dr. Chow, when you look at injuries across the league, I think one that's kind of was big time in the limelight and now sort of faded away is Travis Kelce and the knee bone bruise. Now, is it Taylor Swift's love that is healing it, or was it just not that serious to begin with?
It's a good point, Ben.
Thank you.
Well, let me tell you, at Pro Football Doc, I got a lot of grief for this. About 2 weeks ago, look, my 10-year-old daughter is a big Swiftie. She and mom went to SoFi, the little air of the big Swiftie. And I heard about the rumors. And I actually put up a post called, I can't even find it now, Swift update on Kelce's knee. And I used a lot of, they drained 45 cc's of bad blood. And, I used all the song titles.
Nice.
Like there were about 10 song titles that I had to get from my daughter. Like I had no clue, right? And I wrote a whole post. And here's the thing. It was very clear to me, all the hate, like, what are you doing here? People didn't get it. I even put up the little, thanks to my daughter, the little heart emoji hand thing that the Swifties utilize, right? I thought I was being cool dad. And all the sports followers on my Twitter handle were hating for me on it. Like, what are you doing? I don't even think they got the Swift update thing. So I feel like I was ahead of the curve on that one. But he is doing very well, and he's targeted. Look, this morning, even before I left for work here, my wife and my daughter were on the couch, the 10-year-old, and she was showing, I don't know, it's Instagram or TikTok, I don't know, all that social media stuff, where they were showing pictures of the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and the whole thing, including where, I don't know if this is real, but basically Travis Kelce was like pointing up at the skybox, and Patrick Mahomes, Kelce gave a quick wave, and Patrick Mahomes is giving a wave. If you don't think Kelce was going to get targeted that day, you're crazy.
Yeah, that's where Vegas gets involved, right? Like where all of a sudden those player props for Travis Kelce, I didn't even think of it, but if I had him
Smash the over.
Just hit every single over button you can possibly hit. Anytime touchdowns, that would.
Your former coach, Bill Belichick, even weighed in saying that might be the biggest catch Kelce's ever made, right? Your former coach even weighed in.
Yeah, we played that sound earlier. Actually, yesterday we played that sound. Yeah. Hey, Pro Football Doc is going to be joining us every single Tuesday of the football season right here at 8:30. So if you're looking to set your fantasy lineup, if you're looking to get an early look at some of the injuries that are going to matter for your next week of NFL betting, you're going to want to listen to Dr. David Chow. Again, head over to Sports Injury Central, 6score.com. Before we let you go, Doc, just want to ask you real quick about Mike Williams' knee. Charger receiver had that big touchdown in the win that they tried to give away to the Minnesota Vikings, but they get the win this Sunday, but not without a cost. How bad of shape do you think Mike Williams is in?
Well, by video in game, and it's just video, and we hope to be wrong all the time, but it seems like we're not. But having studied video in the film room for 17 years there, after knowing what the injury was, that was an ACL and MCL. So don't be surprised if his surgery is delayed. The ACL part, I think, has been confirmed, and who knows what's going to happen contractually and otherwise. But it's a tough to be 100% from that at the start of next season. But before I go, one thing for your San Diego listeners, we're running this pick'em contest at sicscore.com. Winner gets a guaranteed $1,000, and it's free to enter. You just go to the site and find it and enter. And it's like I had to get used to it. It's like a swipe left and right kind of thing. So I don't know which one is which. I'm not into that world, but the young cool kids are. So you can swipe and do your pick 'em, and the winner gets $1,000 guaranteed.
Doc, is your Tinder handle also Pro Football Doc?
Yeah. We can we find you on Bumble at Pro Football Doc?
Look, Tinder I've heard of, I've never utilized. Bumble, I don't know what it is at all. I just know the cool kids swipe. And literally, when I asked my room, because we got a bunch of staffers that are young, I'm like, so how do you do this swipe? They just kind of all laughed at me. Honestly, I didn't know. Are you like X? Like if you swipe this way, is it okay? One team goes away, but it's almost like you're putting the other team into the middle, right? Which like you're picking them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was a little confusing for me the first time that you did it. And we do have consolation prizes if you beat me, but it's a guaranteed $1,000 to the winner. Something fun for your listeners to do.
I mean, you said it straight right there. I mean, it's confusing for everybody on their first time. You get better though. I'm sure you'll figure it out, Doc. Hey, we'll do it every Tuesday. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks.
There he goes. Dr. David Chow, former Chargers doc, orthopedist in the NFL for, gosh, I mean,
Tinder
20
expert.
years.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And check that out at Sports Injury Central, 6score.com. They got that pick 'em where you could win $1,000. Very cool.
Yeah. Who wants to go see Coldplay? Woo! Yeah, because we got tickets right now. 844-570-1360. Caller number 4. Because Coldplay and 4 and play.
How many letters are in the word
Sweet
yellow?
unanimous.
That's right. Caller number 4 right now. You're going to go see Coldplay this Thursday at Snapdragon Stadium. You want information on that show, go to Ticketmaster.com, but it is sold out. So you're only getting them here.
I love it. I love it. And coming up next, I have a huge surprise that was promised and not delivered for Travis and Fletch.
Woo!
And it's coming up next.
Stars, 'cause you lie.
Coming up next, I give Ben and Travis something very, very special. That's on the other side. Be listening for an opportunity to win $30, a gift card that we're going to be giving out this segment, right? You're going to go to Prince Street Pizza with this gift card. We're celebrating San Diego Restaurant Week. It's going on now through October 1st with over 100 San Diego's finest dining establishments, diverse range of cuisines from farm to table to international flavors, multi-course menus starting at $20. Visit san diego restaurant week.com for more information, but a $30 gift card to Prince Street Pizza coming up in just a few minutes, really 3 minutes from now. We're going to
give us your special big present.
Okay, sorry. I've delayed the
That
inevitable.
you've been hiding.
Guys, today, celebrating our first anniversary.
Yes.
I have flamethrowers for
Yes! Oh my gosh, here they oh my goodness, here they are. Wow. Wow. Oh wow. Look. Oh, the flamethrower box. It has several pictures on suggestions on what you can use the flamethrower for. Kill weeds, light charcoal, remove paint, melt ice, soften asphalt.
It's weird. It doesn't say cooked steak on here.
Also, murder your enemies.
Oh, this is fantastic. The Flame King flamethrower. God, life is good.
Yeah.
Life is real good. I'm going to see if I can open it up.
Yeah, actually, pop that sucker
Yeah.
open. So here's what I use my flamethrower for. And you guys have been a part of some of this. I flamethrow hot dogs. I flamethrow tri-tip. I flamethrow steaks. Many of which, in fact, all of those things I've done in the parking lot here at work. So I am so excited for the three of us to have these because we're going to get into all sorts of
Oh, wow.
mischief.
Dude, I'm already picturing social media content where we have Travis dressed up like an American Eagle,
Ooh.
just running through the parking lot, and Rich and I are waiting at the finish line with two flamethrowers pointing up at the sky, and as Travis runs through and breaks the line at the photo finish, just spurts of fire go.
Look at this. Look at this. With the igniter.
Yes. Dude,
Could you imagine if that started just shooting right now?
when this thing turns on, once you hook it up to the propane and you
Oh.
light it, this is what it sounds like. Like it's so loud and terrifying. I lit it one time in the backyard at like 9:30 at night. So it was very quiet in Pacific Beach.
Mhm.
And I was making a late dinner. And my neighbors, all the lights went up. Like, what the hell are you doing? Because all they're seeing is light flashes, and it sounds like somebody is flamethrowing.
We're gonna need Jay to come by with his Speedo.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
We're gonna need to do we'll just shoot a promo video for Jay.
I think that's smart. I think he needs a promo video. And I think we're just the guys for it.
I'm gonna run down, grab a propane tank. Yeah.
yes.
Do we have a barbecue over on the side here for like outdoor events? Do we
It
have
got
that?
thrown out?
The barbecue?
Yeah, during COVID, it got real spidery.
God, I thought maybe.
Oh
we'd have
no,
a
but this is
propane tank.
perfect for killing
I-
spiders.
yeah, this
Well,
is so
barbecue
perfect.
doesn't exist anymore.
They throw away the propane tank?
I don't know.
I'm gonna
Like
buy a
$40
little.
bucks
I'm gonna
for an
buy-
empty propane tank.
I'm gonna buy a little Weber Potbelly grill for us, and we're just gonna leave it back. We're gonna hide it in engineering somewhere.
Put it in not our office.
Yeah.
Plenty of room in there.
yeah. All right, call right now.
This is awesome.
844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. If you want to win that $30 gift card to Prince Street Pizza, you got to be caller number 5. Call right now.
Dr. David Chow, thank you very much. Apologies for being late. Evan Washburn on sidelines of the CBS crew. Who is he on sidelines for? That would be Charles Davis. We had double trouble today with that crew. Maybe Iron Eagle tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah.
Go check all that out at the free iHeartRadio app. Download, subscribe to our podcast. We put them up there every single day. Richard Paul Ornberger, Valentino somewhere in there. Travis Dickdale. We love
Mhm.
you boys.
Mhm, mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, and can't wait to use this flamethrower, buddy. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. The Herd's next.